I mean, you just got to take a look at it just for what it is, right? Pi Network has been building its own blockchain. It's a layer one blockchain, which means everything else will be built upon that. What are other type of layer one blockchains out there? You got Ethereum, Binance Smart Chain, Solana, Cardano, Polkadot, Terra, plenty other layer ones, but there's a lot more layer twos out there in regards to the type of blockchains that have been developed. And Pi Network, and I'm involved in a lot of other cryptocurrency blockchains too. And I understand how they work. And I'm telling you right now, the amount of people that are coming into Pi Network that are new to crypto, that have never heard of crypto before, Pi Network is absorbing all of them. And the other cryptocurrencies that are being developed are only absorbing other people that are already involved in other cryptocurrencies. So what I'm saying to you is that the amount of new people that are being driven into crypto, Pi Network is the one that's pulling them all together from all over the world. And it's been doing that since its inception. And it's continually growing, and it's going to keep growing because more and more people are understanding what it is, and they're sharing it with many other new pioneers out there.
Now, based on the lockup system, the gradual KYC process, and the number of utility that we have, how exactly can we relate those things to market availability? Because for me, I may be wrong, I would like to be corrected. I feel those are the things that kind of would determine the starting value that we'll begin to see for Pi. Okay, so, but more specifically, I'm more concerned about market availability, okay? Where pioneers can spend their Pi and all of that, considering the number of dApps, the few dApps that we have, and of course, not that alone, the peer-to-peer kinds of transactions that can begin to happen within pioneers, globally, locally, and all of that. So what really can we say about the market availability in relation to what the starting value could look like, as it were? Okay, so I don't know.
I talked about that actually in our last call. As I remember, Meldon talked about that specifically, and even myself. You see, when I read this new version of the white paper, the mainnet portion, they said the second best thing that I saw is actually not that they will enable us pioneer to dApp transfer, but peer-to-peer or pioneer-to-pioneer transfer. As we said in the last call, the reason why Pi is growing so fast is not actually because of our online activities. Most of the folks who are actively participating in crypto market, who are watching it, they know how to learn some information online. But the reason the Pi actually managed to get to these numbers that we have nowadays is because it is spreading on a street level. So actually, most of the people on the streets that are into Pi, they are maybe not tech savvy enough to use those markets that we will have inside an ecosystem, inside of our app, of our Pi browser. But they are ready to trade Pi for goods or services on the streets. That is its true power. That's what I've been talking about in that featured video inside of Pi app. I said that its biggest power of Pi is actually its word of mouth spreading, and the word of mouth is something that is happening on the streets, on the ground level. So there you have it. Our economy will actually thrive initially on peer-to-peer exchange. That's the way I see it.
I would say when we speak about the market availability, the key point we all have to understand is that every pioneer should be a buyer and a seller. We usually think about sellers like a group of few hundred or few thousand people who are there to cover our everyday needs. But every pioneer should be a buyer and a seller to form a supply chain. And that's the only way, okay, maybe not the only way, but one of the best ways how the Pi ecosystem could work. If a seller could or can immediately spend the Pi he earned from a previous transaction, he doesn't even have a need to exchange his Pi to fiat currencies. So even when some people ask me, okay, Meldin, that's hard to understand, but I would say we need to start slowly, and maybe the next time we make some transactions, do it in a 50-50 ratio. Of course, when we get some Pi to our wallets and are able to send to our friends, families, and people around the globe. But let's do it slowly and steady. Maybe the next time you make a favor to a friend and he wants to pay you something, don't use dollars, euros, or whatever. Use some Pi. Or even do a 50-50 ratio, like use your local currency 50% and 50% in Pi. And that's maybe one of the best ways how we could kickstart the ecosystem one day.
Yeah, when you're talking about market availability, and I agree with both of them in terms of peer-to-peer is where the power of Pi comes in. And every pioneer should be a buyer and seller, because every pioneer has some type of value they can offer to other pioneers in the world. Now, you may not know what that value is at this time, but everybody is specialized in something, and whether it's your time, your skill set, or the products that you can offer in exchange for Pi, there's something that you can offer to other pioneers in exchange for Pi, and then you can use that Pi and buy something else with it from another pioneer. In terms of market availability, there are a lot of different pioneered markets out there in different countries, but a lot of them have not fully started yet because Pi is not easily usable by other pioneers. And in fact, no pioneer right now at this time can actually transfer any Pi. But in the time that they could, and I really want every pioneer to hear this, the Pi lifestyle started out with a $10 Pi valuation in the very beginning as a base in terms of pioneers to be able to use their Pi. And so one Pi was worth about $10 for the first several transactions, and that was agreed upon based on all the pioneers that were involved in that economy. And then we quickly realized it wasn't a strong enough valuation for the future in terms of pioneers that would come in years later. They wouldn't be able to have enough Pi to purchase whatever it is they were trying to buy at that valuation. It just wasn't large enough. And so that's when we raised it to $100. But we only did that if every pioneer in the economy at that time agreed to it. If we even had one pioneer not agree to it, we wouldn't have done it. But every pioneer, after listening and understanding that Pi has to work for every pioneer in the world, today, tomorrow, 10 years from now, they understood that Pi has to be a little bit greater. And since then, we've done over 2,500 transactions, real transactions, for different types of goods and services where pioneers offered some type of good or service in exchange for Pi at that valuation. And that's real transactions. So these other values that people speak of, like $314, $1,000, that's all hypothetical. I'm talking about real Pi transactions that have happened between pioneers on a peer-to-peer level, on a global level. Now, it doesn't sound like a lot, 2,500 transactions, but that is a lot for an economy that people think doesn't even exist. And we're not the only one. There's a lot of other economies out there, and they have done transactions too as well. And so we're the only one actively displaying it all. But there are pioneers out there already that have used Pi, and also many more that want to use their Pi in this way, where they are using it as a form of payment.
All right, thank you very much. Thank you. So, Legend, I think I would like to ask a question further based on what you said as regards how it all started for the Pi lifestyle. To the audience, I know that there has been a whole lot of misconception about what is happening in that particular economy. Okay, while some people see the good side, we have some other pioneers we really don't understand, and then they kind of don't just get it, and then there's a way they get to speak negative in that sense, in quotes, about the Pi lifestyle. Okay, I've been with the Pi lifestyle for a while, and that's been my major place of motivation actually. Okay, so that's exactly why I want to ask this particular question. Okay, so the economy started off with a $10 value. And please, just trying to emphasize something that he said specifically, 2,500 transactions have been done, real transactions, real life transactions. I mean, a pioneer exchanging either goods or a service for Pi. Okay, and just to let you know, if you look at my profile picture, the profile picture I'm using right now, a pioneer did it for me in the Pi lifestyle, and I paid my Pi. Okay, so I need you guys to know that a lot of things are happening there, a lot of things have happened there. Okay, just to basically begin to set the pace. Okay, I did it for 0.1 Pi. You could say that it's a very quality cartoon picture. Okay, so I did it for a 0.1 Pi. So that's around a $10 because the valuation is 1 Pi for $100. Okay, so yeah, I'm just basically trying to let us begin to see some things that have happened before now. These are things that have happened before now, and it's still happening, just in a way to set the pace. So when you begin to see on the internet and everywhere, 1 Pi for $1,000, 1 Pi for $5,000 for one, it's not just about just saying it. We must be able to do what we say. Okay, that's exactly when we are given real value to Pi as a currency for daily transactions. Okay, so back to the question I was going to ask the crypto legend. So the economy started off with 1 Pi for $10, and then within a short time, they observed that that valuation is not sustainable based on the number of Pi, the number of pioneers, the number of transactions going on, and then all that. So I want to ask, they then move to $100, of which they've carried out 2,500 transactions. So based on that particular the way the whole thing happened within the Pi lifestyle economy. Now, want to come to a bigger picture of the Pi economy, generally, globally, transactions based on the things that we know. Do we feel $100 could be a better or a starting value to which pioneers can begin to trade their Pi once we begin to see a number of pioneers pass KYC?
Yeah, it has to be a strong value. And I know it sounds crazy when you're talking about $100 per Pi, but we have information, real information, in regards to what pioneers actually have, because we had to validate whether the pioneer could actually cover the cost of what they were going to spend in our economy. So they were showing us exactly how much Pi they had on their Pi account. And I'll tell you this, a majority of them, and I'll tell you right now, a majority of them, like 90% of them, had less than 250 Pi, and we've been around for a year and a half, right? So that was pioneers that came in even earlier than the pioneers now. So what do you think is the future? People later on will have even less Pi in terms of the average amount of Pi in every Pi account. And if you're trying to value Pi at $1 or even less than that, there is no way that pioneers in the future will ever be able to use any of their Pi to even purchase a $10 item. It's not possible mathematically.